What's up y'all, and welcome back to my channel. In today's video we are going to be playing with some of the newest releases from Bella Beauty Bar. Not all of them, but I did pick up a couple of things from their newest collection. I grabbed the Melted Mattes palette and the Baked Blushes palette, but this collection also included an all shimmer 6-pan palette which has 5 multi-chromes and 1 holochrome in it. Absolutely beautiful. The packaging is adorable, but ultimately I decided to skip out on that one because it retails for $60, which I know averages out to $10 a shade, and that's not a bad price point at all. But when you're dealing with a larger collection like this, things add up and choices were made. So I decided to skip out on that one. Plus, after I got a little bit of a closer look at it, I realized that I probably already had some of those shades in my collection and I didn't need it. But the collection also included a mascara as well, and that one I'm really intrigued. I want to try it, but I have about a gazillion mascaras open right now, so I don't need another one. But somewhere down the road, I absolutely will try that one out. But let's get back to what I did pick up because that's what we're here for. So the Melted Mattes palette. This one intrigued me because I just love the color story in here. But first of all, the packaging is adorable. I love how it looks like a wafer with like frosting dripping on it. But we have this really unique color story in here. So the first 2 rows are neutrals. Not anything that I don't have in my collection, not anything that I needed, but still beautiful. I love the formula from Bella Beauty Bar, so I'm happy to have them. But these 2 bottom rows right here are what caught my attention. I am here for the bright, vibrant neon shades. I don't have a whole lot in my collection. I have a couple from Gourmand Girls, and of course I have the Surge palette from Glenbunny, which has been discontinued, but I wanted to try these out. I love a neon in the inner corner as an accent, lower lash line, all of that, and I'm really curious to see how these perform, what the pigmentation is like, and if it's the same formula that I know and love from the brand. I also picked up the Blush Bar Face and Cheek palette, and this I thought was super cute, and I'm excited to try this one. So first of all, it's a lot smaller than what I thought it was going to be, which makes me really happy because I don't go through blushes super fast, especially if they are more on the pigmented side. A little bit's going to go a long way, so you don't need anything huge. But I like the color story in here. I like the variety that we have. We've got warm tones, we've got cool tones, we've got deep, we've got light. We've got something for everybody, and I think this is absolutely beautiful. It makes me wonder what else they're gonna branch into. I know that they've come out with liquid blushes, some other lip products, things like that. Like Bella Beauty Bar has been busy lately, but I'm excited to test these out, see what the formula is like, see how they go on the cheek, how they wear, all of that. So we are gonna create a couple of different looks with these 2 palettes. I'm gonna show you swatches of the blushes. We're going to try everything on, and at the end of the video I will give you my first initial impression thoughts of what I picked up from the collection. Keep in mind these are not my final thoughts. I reserve those for my speed reviews and my palette ranking videos where I can give you updates after I have thoroughly tested everything, but I will have all of the products in this collection as well as everything that I have on my face and to finish off these looks listed and linked down below in that description box. So per usual, if you're ever curious about anything I use in any of my videos, always check the description box. I squeeze as much information as I possibly can into that tiny little space. But without further ado, we're going to zoom in a little bit, get my hair out of my face, and we're going to start creating a couple of different looks. Alright, we're going to go ahead and start with the eyes, and then we'll jump into the blushes after I create these 2 looks. That way we can make sure the blush is going to match whatever look I do on my eyes. So let's go ahead and jump into this. So like I said, I really want to play with these bright, vibrant neons down here. This one is calling my name. I don't know if y'all can get like the full effect of how bright and neon these are. You can with this one, but it's even brighter in person than what it looks like on camera. But this one is calling my name, this orange is calling my name, and this yellow is calling my name. So I think for the first look, I want to do something all matte, and we're going to start with the inner corner with this bright neon yellow, and then we'll go from there. So I'm going to pick that shade up with, what brush do I want to use? I am not prepared for this. Okay, we're going to go in with a BK Beauty 211 brush, and I am going to press this on to my inner corner. So very pigmented. I got lots of pickup on my brush. I did not get a whole lot of kick up in the pan, but there was a little bit. But with neons, you want to pack them on. You don't want to go too hard with the blending because they are very white based and they can fluff out into nothing. You also want to make sure that you use them last and don't try to build up on them because again, they will kind of start to fluff away. They'll start to kind of disappear and the color will fade. It's just how they're formulated with that super white base. But that looks absolutely beautiful, nice and vibrant. I'm not having any issues. Everything is blending beautifully. I'm not getting any fallout, patching, skipping, or anything. Okay, so next I'm gonna go in with this shade up here. I wanna put this one in my crease. I just wanna have something for these neons to build off of. So I'm gonna pick this one up with a BK Beauty 201 brush, and I'm just gonna start to fluff this in my crease. Nothing crazy, nothing fancy, same old, same old. Yeah, that looks really nicely, performing exactly as I expect it to. All right, so next I'm gonna go into this shade right here, this really kind of deeper, bright orange shade. It's not quite a neon, but it is definitely very bright and very vibrant. So I'm gonna pick this one up with a BK Beauty 203 brush, and I'm gonna put this into my outer corner. I'm gonna build up some of that depth and that definition, and again, I'm giving these neons something to kind of work off of, because I am gonna have that bright neon orange shade as sort of my lower line accent, and probably somehow work it into the outer perimeter of this as well. All right, so next I want to go into this bright, vibrant neon orange shade down here. I want to put this one along my lower lash line and then just kind of fluff it along the outer perimeter of what I already have, but I'm going to do that with a stamping motion. So I'm going to go ahead and pick this up with a Singe Beauty EO2 brush, picked up really nicely, just like that neon yellow did, and I am going to kind of stamp and fluff at the same time. I don't want to over blend this because I definitely want that pigmentation to be there, but I also want it to be a little bit dispersed down here. All right, so I'm also gonna pack this on, not the rest of my lid, but I'm gonna leave that little portion open right there, and then I'm also gonna go right around the perimeter of that deeper shade that we put out here, just kind of starting to build up a gradient. I'm gonna keep this look all matte, and then I might bring in some shimmers from something else for the next one, but that is going on really nicely. It's very vibrant. The only thing I'm having is a little bit of fallout, but I've never had a neon that I haven't experienced that with. I don't have a whole lot of neons, like I said, but the ones that I do have, they do kind of give me a little bit of fuss and fallout, but they also just wipe away, so I'm fine with that. All right, to finish off this look, I want to go in with this shade right here. This is kind of like a creamsicle neon shade. If you know what I'm talking about, you know exactly what I mean. But I'm going to pick this one up with a Game Beauty EO3 brush, and I'm just going to tap this one right in that little sparse spot that I have on my lid, blending that inner corner and the lid together, giving me a nice cohesive gradient and look. And I'm going to make sure that I'm tapping, I'm not blending. I don't want to fluff anything away. All right, y'all, so this is the completed look, and I think this is a lot of fun. It's very bright, very vibrant. It's giving me all the summer vibes, and that wing, I'm impressed. I am not the queen of wing. I am not very good at them, but I went ahead and went for it, thought, what do I have to lose? And I'm really impressed with the way that it turned out. But let me show you what I used to finish off this look, and then we're gonna go ahead and jump into our second look with this palette. So in my lower waterline, I went in with an LA Girl neon liner. This is in the shade Screamin', and then I lined my lid with my ZC liquid liner. It gave me a really good wing. I'm impressed with this. And then for mascara, I went in with my Essence Lash Princess False Lash Effect Mascara. I will never remember that name. I will have to look at this tube every single time, but this is the waterproof formula. But let's go ahead and jump into the second look. So I think for this, I want to play with some of these neutral shades, and I want to do just like a pop of the neon. So I'm trying to decide how I want to do this. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and start with like the outer corner and work my way in. So, I'm gonna go ahead and start with this shade right here, this really pretty warm matte brown shade. So I'm gonna go ahead and pick that up with a BK Beauty 206 brush, and I'm just gonna start to kind of pat this into my inner corner. I'm gonna kind of move backwards from how I normally do my eye looks. So if you've been here, you know exactly what I'm talking about. I'm gonna put my deeper shade down, build this up. I am going to bring it on to just the very outer portion of my lower lash line as well, and I'm just going to bring this up, fluff it, blend it, make sure everything looks really nice and seamless. All right, so next I'm gonna go in with this shade right here. I'm gonna use the same brush. I just kind of wiped it off, but I'm gonna take this and kind of fluff it around the edges of the shade that I just put down, giving a little bit of dimension and what's the word I'm looking for? I can't think of the word, but a little bit of dimension to the look, kind of blend it out, soften the edges a little bit, tie in that pink shade because I definitely want to play with that hot pink down there. All right, I like the way that looks. That's really pretty. You could actually leave this here and just kind of do like a lighter matte shade on the inner corner, throw on a shimmer even, and you're done. I really love the way those two blended together. I like that kind of gradient that we have going on. But like I said, I want to play with this neon pink down here. It has caught my eye since the moment I opened up this palette. So we're gonna put this one on the rest of the inner portion of my lid, into my crease, inner corner, all of that. And then maybe for the lower lash line, this hot kind of like vibrant fuchsia pink. We'll see how we feel whenever we get there, but I'm going to pick up that first shade with a BK Beauty 205 brush, and again I'm going to stamp this onto the lid. I'm not going to go in with a blending motion. I'm not going to swipe or anything like that. I am going to tap off my brush because I did get some fallout over here. Most of it did kind of wipe away, but that orange shade kind of stayed under here a little bit. I think once I get the blush on, it'll be fine, but I just want to warn you, make sure that you tap off your brush really well. But let's do this. Oh, that is pretty. That is really pretty. I'm disappointed the camera is not picking up the full vibrancy of these, but these are like highlighter neon. These are so incredibly bright. They are beautiful. All right, that shade looks absolutely beautiful. I did not get any fallout with this one, but again, I went in very light-handed, very mindful. I tapped off my brush. All of that I did not do over here. So I think that's kind of the key to these, but let's go ahead and move on. So like I said, I want to dip into this bright fuchsia neon shade right here. So I'm going to go in with the same brush that I just used for the last shade, and I'm just going to kind of tap this on my lower lash line where that little sparse spot is, and then we'll finish up this look. So again, picking up a little bit of product, tapping it off, and then tapping it and pressing it onto the lower lash line. All right, y'all, so that is going to complete this look, and I think this is absolutely beautiful. Again, it is bright, it is fun, it's summery, and I absolutely love the gradient of these shades together. I decided to skip out on the shimmer shade because I love the way this looks so much. So we're just giving this palette its moment to shine and show you that you don't always need a sparkle to have a very beautiful eye look. But let me show you what I used to finish off this look, and then we can jump into the blush palette because I'm super excited about that. So I went in with the same liquid liner and mascara that I used in the first look, and then in my lower waterline, I went in with a NYX Epic Wear liner. This is in the shade Pink Spirit, and I love this. I think this one is so fun. I think this is my favorite one out of the two. But let's go ahead and jump into this blush palette because this is so cute, so fun. I love the packaging. I love how we have like this whipped frosting look on the cover. This is nice sturdy cardboard packaging that Bella Beauty Bar has across the board, and you do get a nice little mirror in here as well. So super travel friendly, great for applying your blush. We're not going to use it today, but let's do this. So I think what I want to do is I want to do this orange blush over here, and maybe I think that's what we're gonna do. We're just gonna do the orange blush. I wish I hadn't put a bronzer on because I think I could actually use this for a bronzer, so I'll have to do that in another video. But let's do this orange shade on my cheek. It's actually more of like a corally orange shade, which is perfect because I feel like straight oranges don't always look the best on me. I need a little bit of that pink undertone in them for them to really complement my skin nicely. So I'm just wiping off my brush. I didn't have a clean blush brush. They're all still dirty from that blush video, so it is what it is, but this is gonna work. Okay, we got a lot of that off. So I'm gonna go into this shade. This is called Strudel. I do feel like these pan sizes are almost a little too small just because I use a bright fluffy brush, but there's enough space in between them. I'm sorry if you can't see that. There's enough space in between them that I'm not having a hard time picking them up. Just be aware that if you do go in with a big fluffy brush, you're just gonna kind of have to maneuver your brush around there a little bit, but let's do this. See how pigmented they are, how they blend, how they look on the skin. I'm excited. That's really pretty. Okay, it's not super pigmented off the bat, so I absolutely love that. I do love a good blush moment, but I want to be able to build up to the blush moment that I have or that I want, and I think this is going to allow me to do that. That's really pretty. That complements that eye look really nicely as well. Okay, beautiful. All right, so for this cheek over here, I'm debating if I want to go in with this shade or this shade. I think this one's going to give us a more idea of how pigmented this palette is, even though I really love this one. So I think that's what we're going to do. We're going to start with the, oh, you know what we're going to do? we're gonna start with this one and then we're gonna do a gradient into this one, see how they blend together, how they mesh. So I'm gonna go ahead and start with this lighter pink. It's called Shortcake. I'm gonna pick that up with another blush brush. This one I wiped off again as well, and we're just gonna kind of go into this pan, and I'm gonna put this more towards the front of my cheek. I'm not gonna bring it super far back, but let's see what kind of color payoff we get with this lighter blush shade. Okay, that is soft but very pretty. Again, super buildable, and I absolutely love that. I love that it's not too much right off the bat, and I don't feel like I have to go back in and try and fix, blend, tone it down or anything like that. Makes it very user friendly, but that's a really pretty shade. I like the way that went on. Very easy. It blended out really nicely. It doesn't have a sheen to it or anything like that. These are flat matte blushes, but they do have a little bit of a blurring effect to the cheek, so I like this. This is really nice. All right, so this is that more hot pink, like fuchsia blush shade called Muffin, and I'm gonna put this one towards the back. And again, I'm just gonna stamp it on and then we'll blend it. This definitely has a little bit more pigmentation to it, but it's not so much that it's overwhelming. Just make sure that you go in with a light hand, and once you have your color on there, kind of wipe off the brush and then go back and blend it. You can absolutely go back over top with one of the lighter blushes and kind of tone it down a little bit as well. So it might be a good idea to go in with the darker shade and then go into the lighter, but I feel like these blended out together really nicely. Nothing patched, nothing grabbed, nothing started to act funky, which they are a powder blush. I don't expect that, but I have tried some powder formulas before that do some pretty funky things when you build them up, blend them with other shades and things like that. But these are absolutely beautiful. I really like the way both of these are looking on my cheeks. I like the pigmentation of them. They are pigmented, but they're not over the top. And when I say over the top, I always compare to the Blend Bunny ones that she came out with last year, the Juicy Cheeks and the Bare Cheeks. As beautiful as those are, and as much as I love those palettes, you have to go in with the lightest hand. Otherwise, it's just blush city all over your face. But these are very beautiful. I like the way these look. All right, before we close out this video, let's go ahead and swatch these blushes. I was gonna do it before I applied them, but then I decided I want to just kind of dip into the palette, put them on my cheek, and not have the swatches sway what I chose to use or how I chose to put them on. So we're gonna go ahead and swatch these on the back of my hand. I'm gonna start up here with this shade and go across, and then come back down over here and go across again. So this first shade is called Cannoli, and it's this really pretty, like rosy toned, neutral shade. It almost looked like it could have been a bronzer for me in the pan, but now that I'm dipping into it and I see it on my finger, I think it was a good idea that I did not use that. But that is really pretty. I think it's a really nice, almost neutral leaning, but a very everyday blush. All right, next we're gonna go in with the shade Strudel, and this is the first one that I put on my cheeks. I have it on over here, and this is beautiful. I really like this color. It's like this really pretty, like melon, orangey, corally pink shade. Like it definitely has a lot of orange to it, but it also has a lot of pink to it as well. And I'm glad that I decided to put this on my cheek before I swatched it, because I don't know if I would have gone in the way that I did if I had seen this swatch first, but that's really pretty. All right, we have the shade Macaron, and this is that really pretty cool toned pink shade, almost a little purple leaning, that has been super popular for like the past 2.5 years at this point. Very pretty. I like the pigmentation on this, and I think this one's really pretty. I like this shade. All right, coming back down to the bottom, we have the shade Red Velvet. That is absolutely beautiful. That is a gorgeous, deep berry tone blush. I can see myself reaching for this one a lot in our fall, cooler winter months. Beautiful. That one does stain a little, just to warn y'all, but we're gonna go into the next shade, which is that bright fuchsia shade that I put on the outer portion of my cheek over here, and this one is called Muffin. And that is how that one swatches out. So it's definitely a really bright fuchsia shade, still very pretty. I'm loving the gradient of these blushes. And lastly, we have the shade Shortcake. This is that really pretty, just like true petal pink shade that I put on the inner portion of my second cheek, and I really like the way this looks. All of these felt very soft, very velvety to the touch. They were very smooth. I didn't have any like grittiness when I picked them up. They all swatched out really nicely, and the 3 shades that I used blended beautifully on the cheek. But let's go ahead and zoom out and chat about the couple of items that I picked up from this collection. All right, first up, the Baked Blush Face and Cheek Palette. I really like this. I think it's nice. I think it's a good matte blush formula. I didn't have any issues with patching, skipping, grabbing. I didn't get a ton of kick up in the pan. They went on really nicely. They built up really nicely. The pigmentation is there, but it's also very buildable. You can sheer it out, get something a little bit soft, or you can go in a little bit heavier handed and build it up. And I definitely think I probably could have built this up a little bit more based off of the swatches on the back of my hand, but I need to keep testing this out and playing with it, see what the staying power is like and all of that. But based off of the swatches on the back of my hand and what they look like after I wiped it off, I don't think that's going to be an issue. But I do want to let y'all know that this is not a baked blush formula. I know the title of the palette says baked blushes, but the brand said that that just kind of went with the theme and it wasn't meant to be construed that way. But I think this is really pretty. I think it's going to work well for a lot of skin tones across the board. Obviously, it's not going to be a palette that every single shade is going to work for every single person. It's just kind of one of those give and takes that you get whenever you get into face palettes. Some people will be able to use every single shade no problem, and others won't be able to. So just kind of use your discretion when you're shopping things like this and see if you're able to use enough of the shades in the palette that it makes it worth the price point. Otherwise, you might be better off and just going and buying a single blush. But I think this is beautiful. I'm excited to keep playing with it and testing it out, and I will keep y'all updated on my final thoughts in a future speed reviews video. All right, the Melted Mattes eyeshadow palette. I love this packaging. I think it's beautiful. I really love this wafer with like the dripping icing. And again, you have like this raised Bella Beauty Bar logo on the front. You also have your mirror in here, and all of the shades in this palette are magnetic. So I really enjoyed the formula. Obviously, I didn't get to play with every single one of them, but based off of what I know from the brand and the shades that I played with, this is their fantastic formula that I know and love. I really do love the matte formula from Bella Beauty Bar. It is one of my top favorites. I would say probably top 3 if I had to pick. I think Blend Bunny absolutely has to be number 1, but this is really good. I enjoyed it. The neons in here, they are a little bit on the finicky side, but from my experience, neons just are. I did get fallout on this eye, and I told y'all that a lot of it was with this orange shade. It didn't completely fluff away, but it did kind of blend into my blush, so I'm not mad about it. But I went in with a lighter hand and a little bit more sparing, tapped my brush off with this eye, and I didn't experience that. So just be cautious when you go into this. Be very careful. Maybe do your eyes before you do your base makeup. Powder your under eyes really quick, but I think this is really good. I still want to keep playing with it. I don't think I got to this shade, which is one of the neons that I did not play with, but I have no doubt that the nude shades up at the top are going to perform beautifully. But like I said, I will keep testing it. I will use every single shade and then give y'all my complete final thoughts in a palette ranking video in the future. But my only kind of nitpicky things with this palette is I wish that one, we had like some purple neons in here. That's a preference thing. I am a purple eyeshadow lover. And also, we don't have shade names. I know that's not really important for everybody, but when you're trying to tell people what shades you're using, it's helpful to have them either printed on here, not necessarily on the back for me because it confuses me, but even whenever I pop out the shades, since they're magnetic, there's no shade name on the back. So just something to kind of keep in mind if you're somebody who maybe likes to rearrange your palettes a little bit, or maybe you like to put them back where you got them after you take them out. You may not get the same gradient that you got when you first got it, but I do think this is really nice. I think it adds a little something to my collection. I'm excited to have more neons to play with, and I think this is beautiful. But those are kind of my final thoughts for this, and that's going to complete this video. But I hope y'all enjoyed it. Let me know all of your thoughts down below. Did you pick up anything from this collection? Did you skip out on this collection? Do you love Bella Beauty Bar? If you do, what is your favorite palette from the brand? I want to know it all. Let's have that conversation. Light up that comment section, and as usual, I want to thank you all so much for watching my video and spending your time with me. It truly does mean so much to me. And if you like this video, make sure you give it a big thumbs up before you leave. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and click on that notification bell so that you can be notified of all my future posts here on my channel. I do post quite a few videos every single week and I wouldn't want you to miss one. But until my next video, have a good one. Bye.